Welcome back to Gun Locker 75. On today's episode, we're going to look at some guns you have not seen on this channel before. Let's get right into it. We're going to start off with a Japanese Arisaka Type 99. Very unique World War II era rifle. This one has been refurbished. It has some of the original components that you don't see all that often, with the attached bipod. The anti-aircraft sight, which is very unique on this rifle. This one has the original dust cover. A lot of them you see without the dust cover because they make a lot of noise, they rattle, so a lot of people remove them. It's very rare to get a numbers matching Arisaka. I mean, not very rare, they're out there, but most of your Arisakas are not numbers matching. At the end of the war, what they did was they pulled the bolts out of them, they disassembled the rifles, and they threw everything into a pile. And then as soldiers wanted to bring them home or whatever, they grabbed a bolt, they grabbed a stock, and they threw them together, and that's why a lot of them are non-numbers matching. This one is non-numbers matching. It's been refurbished. This isn't the original sling or anything. And then a lot of them will have the crest removed. This one has the crest removed as well. So the Emperor wanted the crest. He basically wanted his mark on his property. Well, then when they were going to be distributed out to soldiers, he wanted his mark taken off his property, basically. So that's why you see a lot of them removed. So anyways, that's the Arisaka Type 99 in 7.7 by 58 Japanese. I'll tell you what, man, this rifle kicks. I could only imagine, you know, a soldier on night shift just kind of, you know, dozing off, and then all of a sudden having to fire and being half asleep. This thing kicks the shit out of you, so you definitely want to have your wits about you when you fire it. And I don't know, had that vision in my head. Let's get on to the next gun. Next we have the most sought after rifle for me. The rifle that took me up until now to get. I've been collecting for, I don't know, probably about 12 years. I was buying some guns prior to that, but I wouldn't say I was collecting. And I've been in search of an M1 Garand for that long, and it's just never worked out, or the one I came across was too expensive, or I didn't have the money at the time. And the gentleman I bought that Arisaka from is an M1 Garand collector. And I was like, oh man, if you ever get rid of an M1 Garand, you let me know. He's like, yeah, I don't ever get rid of them. All of a sudden one day he called me up, and I guess he was gonna make a project out of this gun. The story behind this gun is it was hanging on the wall at a veterans, at a Legion hall. And it was somebody, and I'll include a picture in right here. Somebody had tack welded the barrel, so that way when it was hanging on the wall at the American Legion, I guess somebody couldn't steal the barrel. Well, he did some research on the rifle and found out that it's basically original bluing. He believes it's the original stock but been refinished. And outside of the little tack weld, which I wasn't worried about. I'll take care of it. It's a really nice, clean rifle. So he decided not to, he was gonna basically take the barrel off, rebarrel it, restock it, put it in a different caliber. He couldn't bring himself to do that, so he called me, showed me pictures of it. It's H&R Arms, said 800 bucks. Do you want it? And I was like, hell yeah. I mean, I bought it just off of a couple pictures, because for 800 bucks, a nice, clean, shootable M1 Garand, it's about as cheap as you're gonna get. And this thing's beautiful. So let's move on to the next rifle. Next we have the VZ 2008. A product of the VZ58, Czechoslovakian. Kind of AK-like, shoots a 7.62 by 3.9 round. Does take its own proprietary mag. It's not, you can't use an AK mag, it has its own mag. I got one right here. Here's one of the mags for it. It's got like it's like a notch that's a little different. Really cool rifle. What's nice about these versus an AK is they have the last round bolt hold open. Just kind of a cool feature you don't get on the AK. Was always interested in getting one of these. I wanted the VZ58, but happened to come across the VZ 2008. There's a lot of good things about the 2008. It's basically all VZ58 parts, but it's an American milled receiver and barrel. They claim that they're a little bit more accurate, the VZ 2008s. So the opportunity presented itself and I added it to the collection. Next we have a Remington 870 Wingmaster. My first gun I ever purchased was an 870 Express Magnum, and you know, the wood looked like it was dyed in orange Kool-Aid, and basically there's no bluing. It looks like it's spray painted black. Honestly had no idea the Wingmaster existed, and then I happened to see one and I was like, wow. I mean, that looks like $1,000 shotgun. Well, Wingmasters are relatively inexpensive. You can come across them for $400 or $500, and the bluing is beautiful on them. The wood is beautiful. Just, in my opinion, a much higher quality shotgun for anywhere from $100 to $200 more than your average Express Magnum. You know, Express Magnums are 300 bucks or so. 400 or 500. I gave 400 for this one. I just had to do it. It's a beautiful shotgun. I'm not a huge shotgun guy, but I do a little bit of clay shooting and obviously home defense, and I just really like the look of the Wingmaster better. So here's a Wingmaster that you haven't seen on the channel before. I believe this one is from 1998, so it's not one of your older ones, but you know, it's got a little bit of age to it. How about the Smith & Wesson Model 645, the Miami Vice gun. If you've ever seen Reservoir Dogs, Steve Buscemi and Harvey Keitel, and I believe Michael Madsen, all use this gun in Reservoir Dogs. Very cool firearm. The Model 645 was only made for 3 years, from 85 to 88. It's in 45 ACP. Pretty unique firearm. Been getting into the old Smith & Wessons, 80s, 90s Smith & Wessons. Gotta have the magazine in. Really nice single action and double action trigger. You have the decocker. Really cool gun. You can get rid of that whole magazine disconnect From what I understand, it's underneath the sight here. There's 2 plungers, one for the magazine disconnect, and I don't know what the other one's for offhand. I'm drawing a blank. But anyways, 45 ACP, Smith & Wesson, model 645. Really cool. Continuing our 80s, 90s Smith & Wessons that I'm really into. We have the 4006 TSW California Hwy Patrol model. This one's in .40 caliber. So the California Hwy Patrol carried this gun without the rail for a really long time, and they liked the gun a lot. Smith & Wesson kind of discontinued the model from what I understand. And in around 1990, the California Hwy Patrol went to Smith & Wesson, and they wanted their 4006, and they wanted to design it their way. So Smith & Wesson decided to accommodate them. They changed the mold so they could have the Picatinny rail for their flashlight. This was in around 1990. And they made a couple other changes. So they got rid of the hammer. So it's a double action only, but you have the decocker. This decocker is spring loaded. It immediately comes back up, unlike your other ones. Your other ones stay down and you have to flip it back up. Really nice double action trigger. And then, and obviously when you're in single action, it's nice too, but it doesn't have the ability to pull the hammer back. Really cool gun. Serial number starts with CHP for California Hwy Patrol. Specifically made for the California Hwy Patrol. Was not available to the public until the early 2000s. I want to say 04 or so. I could be wrong on that. So if you don't know me by now, I like kind of unique guns, you know, stuff that's a little bit different. Things that the person at the range next to you is not going to be shooting most likely at the same time you are. So I had to get it once I found out the story on it. And last but not least, we'll give you a look at the Primary Weapons Systems MK1. Really unique piston driven AR-15. Give you a little look at what the internals look like here. If you've never seen one of these, your charging handle is actually connected here to the piston, which is connected to the bolt. Pretty unique system. Once again, you know, I'm learning as we go along with you guys. I wasn't real familiar with Primary Weapon Systems. When I saw it and started to kind of look into it, it was like, wow, man, that's really cool. And the opportunity presented itself and I went with it. And you can never have enough AR-15, especially in the new world that we're possibly heading into. So anyways, guys, just a quick look at some firearms that you have not seen on this channel before. I appreciate you as always. Was really trying hard to film some range videos. I got some cool ideas I want to try out. It has been windy in my area for over 2 weeks. I've been just waiting for a day to get out and be able to do some shooting and film it. That day has not presented itself yet, so I figured I would rip through in quick fashion some guns that you haven't seen on the channel before. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like videos like this. I do come across quite a bit and I can piece it together. I will do probably some individual reviews, shooting, and more in depth on some of these firearms in the future. As always, I hope everybody's safe out there and taking care of themselves. And thank you for watching Gunlocker 75. We will see you on the next one.